of His Majesty's first duties on his return from his northern tour is a visit to the Olympia section of the fair. Today, the Queen wears a most unusual hat, a turban of grey and silver tissue with a circular veil. Their Majesties see the Army's new predictor, the wonderful machine that calculates the height, direction, and speed of enemy aircraft, models of the latest anti-aircraft guns, and other new military equipment. Then, with their coming Canadian tour in mind, their Majesties look at cameras and field glasses. And here we see the King trying out a pair which were specially made for presentation. The Queen also received a similar gift. And their Majesties head north again for the royal visit to Birmingham and the heavy industry section of the fair at Castle Bromwich. But first, a tour of the Austin Aircraft Shadow Factory at Longbridge, and Birmingham's famous son, the Prime Minister, is in attendance. The Centre Hospital at Edgbaston is renamed the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And as they ride through the city, once again Birmingham roars its loyal welcome. After lunch, their Majesties separate. The King goes to the British Industries Fair, where His Majesty is accompanied by the Mayor of Birmingham and Lord Dudley. Meanwhile, the Queen goes to name and open formally the new council flats. At the town hall, their Majesties are together again, and they say goodbye to a Birmingham happy and excited at the end of its royal day. France plays in dark blue jerseys and England in white for the international match at St Helens in Lancashire. 4 years ago, France took up the rugby league game. Just how much they've learnt in that time you can judge for yourselves today. Some of the best forwards that France has ever sent over with a zip and zing into the game that lifts the crowd out of its seat with a roar. A Bruce of France gets the ball. Allez, up! But in spite of the French attack, England scores first with an unconverted try. Then Belshaw dashes down for England, but though he slips and is tackled, Morel breaks clean through to put England 6 points up. And again the try is unconverted. The half-time score is 6 points to 3 with England leading, but in the second half a French mass attack pulls them level, then takes them ahead to 12 points, before Thacker goes through again for England. Belshaw takes the kick, but this 7th try of the match is the 7th unconverted, and no further score gives France her first rugby league victory over England by 12 points to 9. Along the streets of Sydney, a mile of men marching through the night. The Governor-General, Lord Gowrie, takes the salute. Soon his term of office will end. He'll hand over his duties to the Duke of Kent. Today he watches the greatest parade of Australia's armed might since the war. The crack Scottish 30th Battalion wears the tartan of the Black Watch, and the battalion's over-strength. Australia still breeds soldiers. The nation that gave the world the glory of Anzac remains strong in the spirit of youth, and every one of them is a volunteer in the service of the Empire. They haven't enlisted for any warlike campaign of conquest abroad. Their motto is not deference nor defiance, but defense. And to that spirit, Australia responds. The feast of the patron saint of Wales is celebrated by the Welsh Guards at the barracks at Purbright near Aldershot with a march past the Colonel. But of course the important part of the ceremony is the distribution of the little emblem which today Welshmen all over the world are proud to wear, the leek. I don't believe anybody really knows how it all started, but one legend tells how a band of Welshmen in the service of King Henry V fought one of their bravest battles in a field of leeks, and how ever since they have worn it in their caps or their buttonholes as a mark of honour to their country. What the modern Welshman thinks about it is perfectly plain.
Indeed, to goodness. It's been a very good St. David's Day today. Tabochi.
They tell me that means goodbye. So long, pal. A modern inventor follows an age-old tradition. Through the centuries, it has generally been the custom for men of science to try out their inventions on themselves first. And Mr. Jack Truro of Devonshire is no exception. He has invented a fluid which he claims will fireproof any normal woven material. He's wearing an ordinary lounge suit which has been dipped in his magic fluid. Take a seat, Mr. Truro. All right, Mr. Truro, we're quite satisfied. You can come out now. And then he puts on a complete suit of material, specially fireproof by his method, to demonstrate the value of his invention in the case of an air crash. Inside them thar ruins lies George. But don't worry, because George is made of asbestos. Mr. Truro takes a deep breath and plunges in to George's rescue. George is safe, and so is Mr. Truro, the man who has the courage of his own invention. Well done, Mr. Truro. We think maybe you've got something. Something for nothing. And don't the kids love it? Once a year at this time, Kentish fishermen give the youngsters free boat rides. Just an old Broadstairs custom. Buck up, sonny, or you'll be left behind. They know they'd have to pay for a row at any other time, so they grab the chance of a buckshee outing and keep their Saturday pennies for the pictures or toffee apples or something. The fishermen have a busy time keeping the kiddies within bounds and acting as nurses when that sinking feeling arises. But it's a gloriously happy day. Little old New York is getting ready for the World's Fair. And in the famous view, you can see the skyline of downtown Manhattan, the East River and Wall Street. You can almost hear the hum of a million workers. But wait a minute, there's something wrong. Look at that subway. Yes, there's definitely something wrong. Didn't I tell you it was little old New York? A gigantic model. Yet a man can take up the Brooklyn Bridge in one hand, or remove the dome of the Empire State Building. It's one of the exhibits for the World's Fair, but its most amazing feature is the illumination. You can even see the elevators moving up and down the skyscrapers in this fairyland model of a great city.
Pope Pius XI has passed to his eternal reward, and the world mourns the loss of one of its greatest influences for peace. At St. Mary's Basilica in Sydney is held a solemn requiem mass for His Holiness. The sympathy of the nation is expressed by the attendance of the State Governor and Lady Wakehurst, and the Governor-General and Lady Gowrie, who are greeted on the threshold by high dignitaries of the Church. A colourful procession comprising all the bishops in New South Wales and hundreds of priests precedes the apostolic delegate Archbishop Panico to his throne. So, with moving ceremonial, the Church pays its last tribute to Pius XI of blessed memory.
The Army Air Corps garrison at Langley Field, Virginia, salutes a flying fortress full of peacetime heroes. The great bomber ends a mission of mercy that took it 5,000 miles to Santiago, Chile in 30 hours flying time. Laden with a ton-and-a-half cargo of Red Cross supplies and medicine to prevent epidemics, it rushed to the relief of tens of thousands of earthquake victims. Major Caleb V. Haynes commanded the 10 enlisted men and officers of the crew. He receives congratulations from other officers, for his flight won him the Distinguished Flying Cross, the highest award of the Air Service. Langley Field presents an aerial salute in honor of the flight which reflects so much credit upon the Army Air Corps. Warplanes parade in tribute to the deeds of a peacetime soldier.
Greatest crowd in Scottish Cup history to see Celtic in the stripes open with a wild attack and give the match a sensational start. From a corner, Delaney of Celtic takes a giant leap and heads it in to put Celtic one up within 90 seconds. But as far as Hearts are concerned, worse is to come. Hardly have the Celtic cheers died down when they attack again. Right through the Hearts defence and from about 16 yards, McDonald crashes one in to make it 2-up within 4 minutes. And the rest of the match is all Hart's demon drive to draw level. Just before half-time, they break through to make it 1-2. And then 2 minutes from the end, just when it looks to be all over for them, they make it 2-all. So Hart and Celtic live to fight another day.